I call to order Lake Havasu City Council regular meeting on Tuesday, June 27, 2017 at 6 p.m. We'll now have an invocation by Pastor David Bybee.
It's my honor to be here from Community Presbyterian Church, and just a blessing to pray. Let us pray. Great God and everlasting Father, we come before you this evening with, first of all, with praise and thanksgiving. We here in Lake Havasu City have so much to be thankful about. The beauty that surrounds us every day as we wake up and look out, or walk the streets or by the lake, our marvelous community, our citizens, friends throughout the year, our civil servants, our businesses, our glorious places of worship, and our fun recreation. Yes, Lord, we have much to be thankful about, life and unimaginable purpose in you. Bless this gathering this evening, and may your guiding spirit be present. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Would the city clerk please call the roll?
Council members Mark Nixon.
Here.
Donna McCoy.
Here.
Jenny Koch.
Here.
Cal Sheehy.
Here.
Michelle Lynn. David Lane.
Here.
Gordon Grote.
Here.
Okay, item 5 on our agenda this evening is our initial call to the public. This is where our citizens have an opportunity to address the City Council on any matter under the city's jurisdiction. Now, under Arizona open meeting law, we will listen to you intently, but we will not be able to have a two-way conversation because the item is not agendized. Nevertheless, we can ask staff to follow up with you at a later date or put the item that you are concerned about on the agenda at a later date. If you do want to address one of the items that is on the agenda, I would suggest that you wait for that item to come up, and in that way we can have a two-way conversation. So with that, would anybody like to address the City Council as part of call to the public? Nice try, Senator Borelli. All right, seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Would any of the council members like to remove any of the items for separate discussion?
Mayor?
Yes.
Motion?
Please.
Move to accept the consent agenda as presented.
All right, we do have a motion and a second to accept the consent agenda as presented. Any final discussion? Hearing none, we're ready to vote.
Motion carries 6-0.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, we're going to move on to item 7, correspondence, communications, petitions, announcements, and the city manager report. 7.1 will be the city clerk will announce vacancies on the Lake Havasu City boards, committees, and commissions. Kelly.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. There are a number of vacancies on Lake Havasu City boards, committees, and commissions. The following is a listing of those vacancies. Airport Advisory Board, 4 regular pilot members, 1 regular non-pilot member, 2 alternate pilot members, 1 alternate non-pilot member. Board of Adjustment, 10 regular members, 3 alternate members. Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, 3 regular members, 1 student member. Planning and Zoning Commission, 1 regular member, 1 alternate member. And the Public Safety Personnel Retirement System, 1 regular member. Anyone interested in picking up a packet can visit the city's website page, or they are also available at City Hall.
All right, thank you very much. All right, item 7.3 is a presentation of the Vietnam Veterans of America National Achievement Medal.
Good evening. My name is Pat Farrell. I'm the president of Vietnam Veterans of America from Mojave County, Chapter 975, and I appreciate the opportunity to address City Council here in Lake Havasu City, one of the most veteran-friendly towns I've ever been in my life. The purpose for our visit here today is to present achievement awards, and we have two that we would like to present tonight. And the first, I will read the award for both, so you only have to hear this once. It's from the Vietnam Veterans of America. This is the certify. It's the Vietnam Veterans of America Achievement Medal. It has been awarded to Mayor Mark Nexon, given under my hand in the city of Silver Springs, Maryland, first day of August 2017, and signed by our national president, John Rowan. Mayor, can we have you come up? Sisto?
Sisto Sandoval, First Vice President of the Vietnam Veterans of America, and it's going to be an honor and privilege for me to do the pinning tonight for these two fine gentlemen. They've done a lot for the veterans through the courts, through the community, and loving us the way we are. Thank you.
I'll read the reason for this award. Mayor Mark Nexon, in his 9th year as mayor of Lake Havasu City, he and Mayor Jack Hagan of Bullhead City worked with then State Senator Ron Gold to draft a bill to recognize March 29th as Vietnam Veterans Day in Arizona. In 2013, we helped establish the Veterans Treatment Court in Lake Havasu City. He and the City Council voted to have banners on lifeboats for our active duty veterans. He and the City Council are working hard to make Lake Havasu City become one of the most veteran-friendly cities in Arizona, and I will argue do not know. Mayor?
And let me just say a word while I'm here. The award these gentlemen are getting is the second highest award, civilian award from the Vietnam Veterans of America.
Our next awardee is
Judge K.
Judge K. Judge became the first criminal court in City in 2013. This court is currently demonstrating a less than 5% recidivism rate. Nationally, that rate's over 60%. He was instrumental in forming the Veterans Treatment Court in Bullhead City as well, and you couldn't pick a better judge to operate this court. The lives you have touched, restored, and improved is an immeasurable that you won't know for years, and it's putting your city into your citizenship. And that being done, I'll shut up now. Thank you for your attentions. Bye-bye.
Well, I have to say that I'm very honored. When I heard about the award, I was so surprised because I got an email that I thought it was not intended for me. So I sent it back and said, I think you sent this to the wrong person. And they sent it back to me and they said, no, you and Mitch Pllc are receiving the award. So again, I'm incredibly honored, and it's been my privilege to work with veterans over the last 10 plus years, and we will continue to work with veterans and make Lake Havasu City the most patriotic city in America. So thank you again. All right, we're going to move on to item 7.4, which is our city manager's report. Mr. Cassens.
Oh my gosh, the mayor has a medal now. He's going to be impossible to live with. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Council. A relatively short report tonight, but I do want to acknowledge the retirees from the city over the last quarter. One is Chuck Mahalski in our water department. Any of you who have had any dealings with the water department know Chuck. He has retired after 18 years of dedicated service to the city. We have David McKay in operations, who has retired after 10 years of service to the city. Gene Knight in the MPO office is retired after 3 years with the city. Pat Wilson in the police department has retired after 27 years with the city. And Tom Dastrup in the police department retired after 10 years with the city. So there's a total of 68 years that have gone on to the next chapter in their lives. And we thank them for their service to the city and wish them well in their retirement years. In the Community Investment Department, Code Enforcement, as of the last report, Code Enforcement staff received 32 new cases, performed 28 primary inspections, 37 follow-up inspections, sent 7 violation notices, and closed 29 cases. There are currently 47 open cases in code enforcement. Building permits, we've issued 289 residential single-family home permits. That's 6 more than the same time period last year. Issued 10 new commercial building permits. That's 8 fewer than the same period last year. Performed 4,187 plan reviews. That's 309 more plan reviews this year than last. And performed 12,883 inspections this year. That's 657 more than the same time period last year. Special events coming up, of course, fireworks over the lake on 4th of July. That'll start about 9 p.m. in Thompson Bay. Lots of places to view the fireworks. And Mr. Mayor, that's all I have. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Are there any questions for our city manager? All right, then we're going to move on to the public hearing portion of our agenda this evening. First up on item 8.1, adopt resolution number 17-3151, appointing members to the Lake Havasu City Airport Advisory Board. Ms. Williams.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. The Clerk's Office has received 2 applications requesting consideration for reappointment as regular pilot members, 1 application requesting consideration for reappointment as a regular non-pilot member, and 1 application requesting consideration for appointment as an alternate pilot member to the Airport Advisory Board. These appointments are necessary to fill the expiring terms of regular pilot and non-pilot members and the expired term of an alternate pilot member. The applications of all 4 were provided to you in the packet, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Kelly, do you know whether any of the applicants are prepared to speak this evening, or did we ask them to do that?
We did ask them, and I don't know if there's anyone here from the Airport Advisory Board today.
Doesn't appear to be?
No?
Okay.
Okay.
I think we know most of them
Okay.
anyway, so we're good to go. All right, this is a public hearing. Would anybody like to address the City Council on this matter? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
motion.
please.
I move to adopt Resolution 17-3151, appointing Steve Huff and David McNary as a regular pilot members, and Louis Worthy as a regular non-pilot member, and Shannon Hicks as an alternate pilot member.
Second.
All right, we do have a motion and a second. Is there any final discussion? Do we need the term in that motion? Or does it matter? It's okay. Okay. All right, hearing no final discussion, we are ready to vote. There we go.
Motion carries 6-0.
All right, thank you very much. All right, we're going to be moving on to item 8.2, adopt resolution number 17-3152, appointing members of Lake Havasu City Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. Ms. Williams.
Mayor and City Council, the City Clerk's Office received 2 applications requesting consideration for appointment as regular members to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. These appointments are necessary to fill the expiring terms of 2 members and the expired term of 1 member. Both applications were provided to you in the packet, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, I think both applicants are here, is that correct? The one for, well, Mark, would you mind just giving us a brief word about why you'd like to be reappointed? It's on. Yeah, there you go.
My name's Mark Zeef. I currently serve on the Board of Parks and Rec. I'd like to continue to serve on the Board of Parks and Rec. I like to hassle Mike Keene a lot with my ideas.
Oh, great. Then no problem.
No, yeah, right. No, it's fun. I've got a lot of good ideas, and I'd like the blessing to keep continuing on the board. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Mr. Biasucci.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. I personally would love to be a part of this board because growing up in Havasu, I had the chance to actually work for the after-school program and the summer camp program that was run by Parks and Rec. I did that for 4 years as a summer counselor. So when this opportunity came up to be on the board, it was truly exciting for me to have the opportunity to apply for it and, again, give back to the city that gave me so much growing up. The only thing I ask is I am running for the House of Representatives in the next election. So I just ask that you, if I do get appointed, to place me in the position that the term ends in 2019, which I think Kelly stated that there is one.
Right, it's the unexpired term.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I would greatly appreciate that, just so there's no burden on the council to have to reappoint somebody if I were to get elected. So,
okay.
Other than that, thank you again.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right, this is a public hearing. Would anybody like to address the City Council on this matter? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
motion.
Please.
I move to adopt resolution number 173152, appointing Mr. Mark Zeif as a regular member of the Park and Recs Advisory Board with a term to expire June 30th, 2020, and Mr. Leo Biasucci as a regular member to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board to fill an unexpired term ending June 30th, 2019.
Second.
All right, we do have a motion and a second. Is there any additional discussion? Hearing none, we're ready to vote.
Motion carries 6-0.
All right, thank you. Appreciate your volunteering for these positions very much. Okay, we're going to move on to item 8.3, adopt resolution number 17-3153, appointing members to Lake Havasu City Planning and Zoning Commission. Ms. Williams.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. The City Clerk's Office received 3 applications requesting consideration for appointment to the Planning and Zoning Commission. The appointments are needed to fill the upcoming expirations of the term of 1 regular member and 1 alternate member. The 3 applications were provided to you in the packet, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. And I would suggest, since we pretty much know these 3 candidates, unless you feel that they should come up to the lectern. I wasn't going to ask them, but is that acceptable to you folks? Okay, so what we have are 3 people for 2 positions.
Correct.
One is a regular, one is an alternate.
Yes.
Okay. All right, this is a public hearing. Would anybody like to address the city council on this matter? And by the way, if one of you do want to come up and speak, you're more than welcome to do that. So, but it's entirely up to you. You're okay? Okay. All right, seeing that there are no public speakers, we will close the public hearing.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to adopt resolution number 173153, appointing Mr. Doug Hardy as a regular member and Mr. Don Bergen as an alternate member to the Planning and Zoning Commission with those terms ending June 30th, 2020.
All right, we do have a motion and a second. Is there any final discussion?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
When would the next vacancies be, Kelly, for?
You know, I don't have the terms with me right now, but I could get that.
Is it every year or every 2 years? Roughly.
It's every 3 years. They're staggered 3-year terms.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, quite honestly, all 3 are outstanding candidates, and that's the difficulty we're running up against. Because if there were 3 open spots, I'd have all 3 in those spots, because they're all great candidates. All right, we do have a motion and a second. Is there any final discussion? We're ready to vote.
Motion carries 6-0.
All right, for those who aren't selected this evening, please volunteer again, because as I said, you've done a great job in the past. I'd love to have you back on the planning and zoning. Okay, we're going to move on to item 8.4, adopt resolution number 17-3154, amending resolution number 16-3062, and transferring budget appropriations from one fund, department, or division to another for fiscal year 2016-17. Ms. Miller.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. So this item, unlike the next one, which is a little more exciting, where we adopt the next year's budget, this is cleanup for the current year. And the current year actually will come to an end this Friday on June 30th. We really have 4 items that we're asking you to move budget around. So we're not increasing, we're simply reallocating. The first 2 are really about cleanup from suggested or strongly suggested from our auditors. The one is simply how we allocate the cost, the overhead that we charge out to our enterprise funds. We've lumped this in the past. Our auditor suggested that we actually credit it back directly to the department, so we're reallocating that. The second one was an adjustment. We had moved payments, we had netted payments out of our sales tax, and this was actually purposely done so that we wouldn't have to account for developer agreement payments and the payments for the CVB and the PED as expenditures, kind of a way to try to keep that from hitting our expenditure limitation. Unfortunately, our auditors told us we couldn't do that and we had to recognize it as expenditures, so we're adjusting there. The second 2 are really, again, just the minor changes in the budget. The first is that we had, when we issued the debt for 2016, we had allocated the debt service for this year based on the budget. The spending didn't quite happen the same as we budgeted, so we're moving those funds within those accounts. And finally, the last one, we've increased the budget in the refuse fund by $315,000. And this is to account for those engineering fees, the study we're doing at the landfill to look at the capacity, and then a small increase in our contracted services with Republic. And with that, I'll answer any questions you may have.
I noticed that we are using the IDD fund to assist us in this, but I didn't quite get the connection there.
There isn't a connection. We are,
Okay.
and I want to make it clear, we're borrowing budget appropriation, but we are not in any way touching the dollars that are in the IDD fund, because those
Okay.
have to stay within and be used for that purpose. We basically, once we set the budget, the cap like we did the last meeting, council has the ability to reappropriate budget allocation but not funds, and we're simply borrowing from the IDD because they're not anywhere near spending their budget for this year. It was an easy place to take the budget appropriation from.
Okay, and then in light of the fact that we have to recognize the payments to PED and CVB, how does that impact our expenditure limitation?
So unfortunately, it increases it by the $3.4 million. We've run preliminary numbers for this budget year, and we will eat into that carry forward, mostly because of this, to be honest. But we're still well within the $10 million that we have. The numbers that we've run for 17-18 and 18-19, we actually will be below it. So we should be good for this year and the next 2 years.
And just out of curiosity, and maybe you've already had these discussions with our auditors, but is there any mechanism that would allow us not to show it? For instance, what if those funds were collected through an escrow agent and then redistributed to them and we never touched it?
So the problem isn't our touching it, it's the fact that it's our taxing authority, and that's the issue.
Oh, well.
Yeah, we tried hard on that one.
All right. Any other questions? All right, once again, this is a public hearing. Would anybody like to address the city council? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Motion?
Please.
I move to adopt resolution number 17-3154, amending resolution number 16-3062, and approving the budget amendments listed on schedules E and F for fiscal year 2016 and 17.
Second.
All right, we do have a motion and a second. Is there any additional discussion? Seeing none, we're ready to vote.
Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, the next item, for those of you, we have to adjourn to a special meeting. We're not going to be going anywhere. We're going to sit right here. But under Arizona state law, it is required that when we approve the budget, it is in a special meeting. It will look like a regular meeting, but we'll just change hats or something. I'm not real sure. So with that, is there a motion to adjourn to a special meeting? All right. I think we have to vote on it.
Motion carries 6-0.
Okay. Believe it or not, we're now in a special meeting. And the curtains will come down and we'll all disappear. I'm not sure. Okay. What's that? It is. I think it is. Item 8.6, adopt resolution number 17-3155, adopting the fiscal year 2017-18 final budget. Ms. Miller.
So I'm actually going to let Cassandra Cloud take over this. She puts in most of the work that pulls the budget together from December all the way through today, and so we felt it was only fitting that she get the special meeting and the final budget, so I'm going to let her take this on.
Lucky you.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. Tonight we are requesting for the Council to adopt the final budget for fiscal year 17-18. The tentative budget has been published in the newspaper twice, and it has been posted on our city website as required by law. At this point, Council can change or reduce the amount of the budget, but you cannot increase the amount. We have made one change to the legal document since the tentative budget was adopted. We added the fiscal year 16-17 budget amendment, which Tabitha just went over. The fiscal year 17-18 proposed final budget is $137,035,521 in revenues and $155,205,261 in expenses, which is the same as the adopted tentative budget. Also included in the proposed final budget are 4 property tax levies, which council will meet on July 11th to adopt. The first levy is for the city property tax, which is for the general fund. This levy helps support services such as police, fire, and parks and recreation. The proposed levy rate is 0.6718, which is lower than the fiscal year 16-17 levy rate of 0.7000. The decrease is due to an increase in assessed property values and holding the levy amount. The proposed levy amount is $4,405,892, which is equal to the 16-17 levy amount plus new construction. The second levy is for the irrigation and drainage district. The proposed levy rate is $268.85 per acre, or $134.44 per half acre. The proposed levy amount is $5,684,564, which is the same as the previous 6 years. The third levy is for the Improvement District Number 2, London Bridge Plaza. The proposed levy rate is 0.8349 per $100 assessed value, or approximately $16,000. This levy is only charged to property owners within that district. And the last levy is for Improvement District Number 4, Civic Center, which is for the McCulloch medians in between Smoke Tree and Lake Havasu Avenue, and it also includes Riller Park. The proposed levy rate is 0.5456 per $100 assessed value, or approximately $57,003.
Before you leave that slide, because I know some people might read, well, let's see, they're bringing in 137 million roughly and spending 155. How are you making up the difference? The difference is are the reserves that we have been building over the years so that we can improve our park system, etc. So we're going to be spending close to $15 to $20 million on parks. And so it isn't that we're spending money we don't have. We made a conscious effort over the last close to 10 years to building up our reserves so that then we could supply the amenities that our community has asked for. So that's the differential right there. We do have the money in hand, ready to go.
Okay. Do you have any questions regarding the final budget adoption or the property tax levies?
Questions from council?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
On those 4 sections, one of those, we're actually reducing the tax rate, correct? The other 3, are they staying exactly the same as they were?
The 2 district ones are also being reduced, the rate's being reduced, and because assessed values are going up, and the irrigation and drainage is the same, and then the regular property tax, the rate's being reduced because we're holding the levy amount.
So we are basically lowering the tax rate?
Yeah, so 3 of them are being reduced and 1 is staying the same as it's been for 6 years.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and the other piece that I want to address is that there have been comments that we are taking away from public safety in order to build the parks, etc., that we are planning, and that is not the case whatsoever. If you actually look at the police and fire budgets, they do increase this year. We're using monies that we have slowly built up over the last decade to build these new parks and provide our children with all the amenities they need. In addition, the idea was raised that we didn't have a plan to deal with the public safety retirement that Lake Havasu City, the unfunded liability. That is not the case either. We do have a plan for that. In fact, Tabitha has been working on it, and we do have an unfunded liability of roughly $51 million, I believe.
I'm sorry, 56.
56. It's going up every minute. But we do have a financial plan to deal with that, and it's a very good plan, and it's one that we believe is going to be able to shore up that fund for years to come. So if there's any questions out there how we're making all this work, it is because we've been pretty frugal over the last 10 years. All right, this is a public hearing. Would anybody like to address the City Council on this matter? Seeing none, we're going to close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
let me turn that on. Motion, please.
Yes.
I move to adopt resolution number 17-3155, adopting the fiscal year 2017-18 budget in the amount of $155,205,261.
Second.
All right, we do have a motion and a second. Is there any final discussion?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I just want to thank city staff across all levels. They spend a ton of time on this, and although we didn't spend very much time today, City Council has been presented this 3 or 4 different work sessions, but city staff has been working on it like crazy, doing a lot of things. So thank you to everyone at all levels of city government. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Cal, and I want to again thank Tabitha and her staff, Cassandra especially. They devote their entire working lives to this action that you're taking tonight, and I think they've done an excellent job. We have looked in every corner. We've swept out from under every cabinet and turned over every rock, and I want to make a special note that there's no whining about anything the legislature might have done to us tonight. So just want to make that note for the record. Thank you.
Nice. See, we always try to take care of you, Senator Borelli. All right, any other comments? Okay, I believe we are ready to vote.
Motion carries 5-1.
All right, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Okay, I don't need a motion to reconvene, do I? Okay, so we will reconvene to a regular meeting. Poof, we're now in a regular meeting. And we're going to move on to item 8.8, adopt resolution number 17-3149, a joint resolution of Lake Havasu Unified School District number 1 and Lake Havasu City supporting a statewide post-secondary attainment goal and a world-class education for all students. Ms. Gary, were you going to introduce that or?
No.
Okay. Had your name on it, that's why. So, Donna, it's all yours.
Thank you, Mayor Nexon and members of the City Council. I'm very happy to be here this evening asking for your support. I am with Expect More Arizona. We are a statewide education advocacy organization, and we believe that every student across our state deserves an excellent education every step of the way. Last summer, we developed this progress meter to track 8 metrics about education across our state. And these are the metrics that we're tracking to include teacher pay, preschool enrollment, 3rd grade reading proficiency, 8th grade math proficiency, high school graduation rates, opportunity youth who are youth between the ages of 16 and 24 who are not working and not in school, post-high school enrollment, meaning students that go directly from high school into college or another opportunity. And finally, post-secondary attainment. And post-secondary attainment is the issue that I'm here to talk with you about this evening. You can see that in our state, 42% of our adults have either a 2-year degree, a 4-year degree, or an industry credential. Here in Mojave and La Paz County, about 23% of the adults between 25 and 64 have those certifications. That number, however, does not include industry credentials. We have a number for that for the state, but we do not have that number broken down by the county. So for Mojave, La Paz County, it's probably higher than 23%, but probably not as high as 42%. So 42% have received those degrees, but our workforce of the future requires that 68% of our adults have those kinds of degrees that are needed for our workforce. So a high school diploma is no longer the finish line. And if we had a 10% increase in that 42% number to 46%, we would more than double our current economic growth rates. So in September, the governor, along with 40 other organizations, endorsed the progress meter, and the governor set a goal of 60% of our adults having an industry credential, a 2-year degree, or a 4-year degree by the year 2030 in order to improve our workforce and to attract economic development to our state. This initiative is being called Achieve 60, and we did the progress meter and this initiative in cooperation with the Center for the Future of Arizona, which Evelyn Kasuga is normally with me when I do these presentations, but she's at something else this evening and could not accompany me. So the Center for the Future of Arizona is also involved in this initiative. As a partner with Expect More Arizona, which is our organization, we have a vision that includes all those metrics from the progress meter, that every student should have a quality preschool experience, should be proficient in reading by 3rd grade, should graduate from high school ready to take the next step, and should go on past high school. If you partner with Expect More Arizona, you receive this logo indicating that you're a world-class education partner, which you can use on your website, and we also send a window cling version for you to put in a glass doorway or something like that. As a partner, you have priority access to Expect More Arizona staff, meaning me, because I cover this county. You get acknowledgement on our website, and you also have an opportunity to influence our advocacy efforts, which are around those 8 metrics. We expect that you will display the logo, that you'll use our resources. We are available to present or to give you content for any newsletters related to education, and to distribute messages about education and its importance to your own networks. We have a lot of cities and counties, actually, and county school superintendents who have partnered with us and who have adopted the Achieve 60 initiative. And I am here tonight to ask you to become a world-class education partner, to adopt the 60% attainment goal through a proclamation or a resolution or both, and to utilize that progress meter to set goals in Lake Havasu. I've presented to the Lake Havasu School District, and they adopted the progress meter at their last meeting last Tuesday evening and became a partner with us. And so that's what I'm here for tonight, and I'm happy to answer any questions any of you might have.
Just a little bit more information. Donna came to me for maybe a month or so, maybe a little bit longer, and I had seen this presentation at the league before, and I thought it was a great idea. However, I didn't want to commit to something actually commit the school district without their knowledge. So I went to the superintendent of the school district. They wanted to do a joint resolution. They passed it, as Donna said, last week, and that joint resolution is in your packet, and that's what you're being asked to pass this evening, a joint resolution so that we can work together with the school district to achieve these goals. Any questions?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Is there any cost associated with this?
No, there is no cost associated. It's just showing that you support education, and especially that you support, adults having those kinds of degrees and certificates.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I felt this was perfect for our Vision 2020 goals, where we're trying to attract younger families, millennials, however you want to describe them, and education's key to bringing in young families. They want their kids to be highly educated in the best schools, and so.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
And another great part of this is it's not just the formal education. They're also talking about the technical training. So
Yes.
some of our
Good point.
partners with the Mojave Community College and others in the community, that's a great part of this whole program.
Yep, good point.
Mm-hmm.
All right, this is a public hearing. Would anybody like to address the City Council on this matter? Seeing none, we're going to close the public hearing.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Motion?
Please.
I move to adopt resolution number 17-3149, a joint resolution with the Lake Havasu Unified School District Number 1, supporting a statewide post-secondary attainment goal and a world-class education for all students.
All right, we do have a motion and a second. Is there any final discussion? Hearing none, we are ready to vote.
Motion carries 6-0.
Congratulations. Did you get your? Yes. All right. Okay. Thanks for driving all that way. Appreciate it very much. All right, we're going to move on to item 8.9, approve professional services contract with Whitney and Whitney, Pllc, for public defender legal services. Mr. Cowsons.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The item before you is to award a contract for the indigent defendant services through the law firm of Whitney and Whitney. We've been using Whitney and Whitney for quite a few years, and they're doing a good job for us. We keep loading them up with more and more cases, and while the cost of the services has gone up, we are recommending that we extend this contract for another year or issue the contract for another year. At the end of this year, however, given the extent of the caseload as well as the increasing cost of providing the service, we are going to recommend that we do an RFP at the end of this next fiscal year. So we do recommend approval.
All right, thank you very much. Questions from council?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
So in the agreement, there is under paragraph 46 is the quarterly reports. And I just want to see if we could build something in here that's more definitive on, how many cases that we're serving or what the caseloads are. And it says if it's requested, but I would prefer that it's mandatory that we have reporting just on a quarterly basis of what we're serving. It's on page 5 of 13.
Got it. So you're recommending that instead of well, it says that it shall provide quarterly reports. Are you asking for?
Well, it says if requested. I'd rather just we get quarterly reports, but we tell them what it is. That's not. It's kind of vague what 46 is saying. So I would like to see how many cases we're servicing. How many we closed, how many we closed with jury trial, how many we closed.
So you want to establish some metrics and
please,
and get
yeah. Just so we have some data,
report.
so when we're going in next year, we understand what it is we're going in for.
Got it. Understood.
Okay,
yes, we can do that.
Anyone else? All right, this is a public hearing. Would anybody like to address the city council on this matter? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
So with that motion, if I were to make a motion, should I include in the motion that we would have some established metrics? Would that be the proper way to do that, to make sure that happens?
Do you want it amended, the contract amended to specifically state that, or do you want a matrix on the side that's provided to them that they are to provide the court administrator? If you want specific language in the contract, then you'll need your motion to include that specific language. If you're just directing staff to create a specific matrix of what you want provided in that report, then you don't need to change your motion.
Okay, yes, I would want the contract amended just because it doesn't give you guys any ability to get what you need if it's not amended. So I would, if I may, make a motion to approve the professional services contract with Whitney and Whitney, Pllc, for public defender legal services, and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement on behalf of the city, included amending paragraph 46 to have metrics with how many cases were serviced in the preceding quarter and how many were closed by jury trial or by plea.
I'll second that motion.
All right, we do have a motion and a second. Is there any final discussion? The only question I have, I assume Whitney and Whitney will be fine with that? Are they here?
They're not here to my knowledge. If they do object, we'll be bringing it back with some amendments.
Okay, fair enough. All right, I think we're ready to vote.
Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, thank you very much. Item 8.10, request to rename Hanger Way to George Molitor Way. Steve.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council.
We have a street sign rename, a small 200-foot long area, doesn't serve any businesses out at the airport. Mr. Molitor was heavily connected with the airport, lived and breathed it, and we'd like to change that sign to commemorate his participation in the airport and his contributions.
Okay. Questions from council?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Just confirming this does not affect any businesses whatsoever? There's nobody has to change business cards, letterheads, any of that kind of stuff?
That is correct.
Thank you.
All right, this is a public hearing. Would anybody like to address the city council? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing.
Mayor?
Yes.
Motion?
Please.
I move to approve the renaming of Hanger Way to George Molitor Way in recognition and honor of the late Mr. George Molitor and authorize city staff to take the appropriate actions to accomplish the rename.
Second.
All right, we do have a motion and a second. Is there any final discussion? Hearing none, we're ready to vote.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you very much. All right, item 8.11, getting back to more normal business, so to speak. Approved bid renewal for the calcium nitrate liquid odor management, one of our favorites, control program with Avaqua Water Technologies. Andy.
Hello, I'm Andy Astor with the Utilities Department, and I'm here to request the approval for the increase in the cost. It's a 1.42% increase. It's increasing from $1.864 per gallon to 1.89, and the 1.42% increase is pretty nominal. Inflation rate currently is 1.9, so it's not a huge impact. The Utilities Department's been doing an outstanding job at using this as optimally as they can, and we're looking at more efficient ways to handle the stench that's produced by our wastewater system to minimize expenditures by the city as best we can.
All right, thank you. Questions from council? Yeah, we want to keep those odors under control, that's for sure. All right, this is a public hearing. Would anybody like to address the city council on this matter? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing.
Mr. Mayor, motion.
Please.
I move to approve the bid renewal for the calcium nitrate liquid odor management control program with, how is that pronounced? Evoke?
Avaqua.
Water Technologies, LLC.
Second.
All right, we do have a motion and a second. Is there any final discussion? Seeing none, we're ready to vote.
Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, we're down to our final two public hearing items. First one, item 8.12, award bid for aggregate materials to Campbell Ready Mix. Mr. Clark.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. A standard item went out to bid for our annual material supplies. Only one bidder, Campbell. That's been that way for about 8 or 9 years in town. And even when there were two bidders, they were typically, most of the time, the low bidder. I'd be happy to answer any questions we might have.
Questions from council? Don't say that too fast. All right, this is a public hearing. Would anybody like to address council on this matter? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Motion?
Please.
I move to award a 3-year multi-term purchase order price agreement for supply and delivery of aggregate materials to Campbell Ready Mix for the itemized unit prices listed on the attached ITB number B17-0P-005-2625, bid tabulation plus applicable sales tax.
All right, we do have a motion and a second. Any final discussion? We're ready to vote.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you very much. And our final public hearing of the evening, award bid for ready mix concrete products to Campbell Ready Mix. Mr. Clark.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Again, similar item. This is for the concrete ready mix products. And let me just add that we've always been happy with Campbell's supply and services, and we think that they do an excellent job for the community. And so we're happy to see this business remain locally.
Okay, thank you. All right, this is a public hearing. Your last chance at the microphone. Would anybody like to address the City Council? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Motion.
Please.
I move to award a 3-year multi-term purchase order price agreement for supply and delivery of ready-mix concrete products to Campbell Ready Mix for the itemized unit prices as listed on the attached ITB-B17-OP-006-2626 fiscal year 2017-18 bid tabulation plus applicable sales tax.
Second.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second. Any final discussion? We're ready to vote.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Clark. Are there any current events from council? Any council committee reports? No? Okay, item 10, I was joking. This is your final chance at the microphone. This is our final call to the public of the evening. Would anybody like to address the City Council? I knew he had to do it.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I want to congratulate you and Judge Kalali, Mayor, on what your great efforts and support for veterans. Well-deserved recognition. And I'd like to commend the Mayor, Council, and city staff, how you balanced the budget. You lowered actually a tax rate, and revenues are up. And you've done a great job, and I want to hope that maybe I can possibly draft someone from here in the future to maybe help us out with the state treasury. So I want to thank you for all your support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? All right, future meetings, Tuesday, July 11th, 2017 at 6 p.m. We will have a regular meeting and adopt a property tax levy. Tuesday, July 25th, 2017 at 6 p.m. We'll also have a regular meeting. Are there any future agenda items from the council? If not, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, unless there's an objection, we are adjourned. Thank you all for being here.